service. What is up, listeners? Welcome back to another episode of the Full Service Podcast. I am Tank Smith, your host. Today is episode 66. Thanks for being here. Shout out to my guest from last week, Evie Frost. Evie, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. That was so much fun. If you have not yet, check out last week's episode. Make sure you're following Evie. She is on Twitter at the Evie Frost. Onlyfans.com/Evie Frost. I have a link to her Twitter, her OnlyFans, and the Libsyn page from last week, so make sure you hit that Libsyn page. Show her some love. As always, you can find us on Twitter, on Instagram, at Full Service Pod. I am at Tank Funkadelic. We recently launched Patreon for the podcast. Patreon's a great way to support the show. We have monthly Patreon exclusive episodes. If you want to hear those, head on over to patreon.com/fullservicepod. If you enjoy the show, make sure you are subscribed on whatever platform you're listening to us on. You'll be alerted as soon as every new episode drops. If you're coming to us from Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit us with a 5-star rating, write us a review. I'll read it on the podcast. It'd be amazing. It helps us so much for visibility for the show. If you can't hit us with a 5-star rating, if you can't write us a review, tell somebody. Tell somebody you like, tell somebody you don't like, tell somebody you don't really know that well, maybe just know each other better through the podcast. If you could do that, that'd be amazing. Today, episode 66, so excited. My guest is a Phoenix-based escort, Tyler the Top. I guess we recorded like a couple days ago. It's maybe Tuesday or so. But so excited for y'all to hear this episode. We discuss his start in sex work at 18 using Craigslist, financial domination, getting into escorting, the straight best friend experience, skydiving, how he's been affected by COVID, plans for the future, stand-up comedy, so much. So excited for y'all to hear this interview. He does not have social media, but if you want to hit him up, oh boy, 480-788-2877. I'm going to stop talking. I hope y'all enjoy this interview with Tyler the Top. Thanks. Welcome back, listeners. It's Tank Smith. I'm so excited for today's episode. My guest is a Phoenix-based escort, Tyler the Top. Tyler, thanks for being on the podcast.
No problem, man. Yeah, it's a pleasure. Definitely looking forward to it.
I'm glad we could do this. I know we spoke a couple months ago. I think it was August about you coming on the podcast. It was going to happen. It didn't happen. Now it's December. It's happening.
Yep,
Fucking stoked.
Fan turn podcast story, man. I started listening to you and I was like, all right, I gotta give this guy my story. And then, yeah, life happens, man. Like we were just talking about, life happens. And I'm glad we finally got together, though, for sure.
Fuck yeah. I'm currently in Atlanta. Where are you located?
So I'm currently in North Scottsdale, Phoenix. So Phoenix area, Phoenix, Arizona. I've been out here for the last 8 years.
Oh, sweet. How do you like Phoenix?
I like it. I've spent a majority of my adult life here, so it's home now. But yeah, I like it. I'm not a big fan of snow, so
Does it snow?
I like snow. I like to go see snow, and that's why Arizona's perfect. I like to drive an hour up the mountain and go see snow for a couple hours, and then when I'm done with it, I'm done, and I get to come home and there's no snow. I like that.
Oh, that's not so. It snows, I guess, in northern Arizona.
Oh yeah. No, Flag and Prescott get snow just like anywhere else in the country, like in the northern and stuff like that. And you'd think that it'd be far, but it's literally an hour and a half up the mountain.
Oh damn, that's nice.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I've drove through Flag when it's crazy blizzards. I'm not in Arizona.
I feel every time I see I guess northern Arizona with a little bit of snow. Did you ever play Red Dead Redemption?
Oh yeah, of course.
That's that's how I'm oh, this is Red Dead. This looks exactly like Red Dead. It's crazy.
Dude, it's very similar. It's nuts. The variety of the bios, what we have here. It goes all the way from the Sonoran Desert all the way up to high mountains where you got pine trees and shit. It's crazy.
Damn.
Yeah.
I gotta come out there.
You definitely do.
If I say somebody comes to Phoenix, right? What's there to do? What's something you got any recommendations for the people in Phoenix?
Yeah, so something that I think that makes Phoenix different that you don't see in a lot of cities is that the nature is so intertwined with Phoenix. So there's lots and lots and lots of hiking trails just in the middle of the city. But they're you go a mile back and you're I don't feel like I'm in the city anymore. You know what I mean? There's a lot of nature shit to do in Phoenix. There's a lot of cliffs to jump. If you're into cliff jumping into waters and stuff like that, I'm super into cliff jumping. There's a lot of places like that, but good
Okay.
sports, I guess. I don't know. It's a big city
What's
and it's cheap. That's what I like about it.
Oh, that's the best. Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
What's the highest? Can you think of like the highest cliff you've jumped off of?
Yeah, it wasn't out here though. It was in Hawaii. I jumped off like a 75-foot cliff on the road to Hana in
Oh
Hawaii.
damn.
Yeah,
Did it hurt? Did it hurt bad? Like did it?
yeah. You literally feel like you're like not. They say concrete. It's not concrete, but you don't feel like you're hitting water at that at that point. Like it took the breath out of me. Like it was. Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Fuck. I feel like I jumped off a rock maybe like probably in like late middle school, early high school. That was maybe like 30 feet up.
Yeah.
And that shit was fucking terrifying. I can't even imagine, like 75 feet. I can't even imagine that shit.
See, we used to growing up in Missouri. We used to jump into the quarry, dude. And the quarry rocks, like they've got them that go all the way up like 50, 60 feet. And that's when I was like 13, 14 years old. So kind of got used to it early. I love that shit though. Like I just went skydiving for the first time last year, and oh my god, bro, amazing.
It's funny, like my mom and my sister went skydiving a couple years ago, and my sister went again, but my mom would like they do. Did you get a video of your when you
No, dude,
skydived?
it's so expensive to get a video. It's like an extra $180 to get a video. I was like, I'm good.
God, yeah, no, that's I'm good. Yeah,
I'm
damn.
cool. I'll remember this forever.
Yeah, like my mom and sister got a video, and you can see when my mom gets to the ground, she's just like, I will never do that again.
Yeah,
She was so fucking scared.
that's funny. That's hilarious. Yeah, my mom's not doing that kind of shit at all. So.
I would like to do it though. I feel like I'm too fat to parachute, but I feel like there has to be parachutes that are for
Oh,
fat
for
people
sure,
also.
dude. I mean, if they do it tandem, you know what I mean,
Oh
which is
yeah,
a way
what the
to
fuck am
two
I talking
people.
about?
So the guy that, dude, you let me tell you, bro. If you've never felt like a bitch, bro, go fucking skydiving, dog. Like I felt like such a bitch, dude. They like strap you to the dude's chest, and mind you, I'm 5'9", but this dude's like 6'3", and he's just scooting me around this motherfucking plane with me like strapped to his chest like a baby, bro. Like I had no control in the situation whatsoever.
God.
Yeah, it was.
Do you get to the point where you ever feel like you're not falling, or is it like does
Yeah,
it feel
I
like you're
mean,
falling the whole time, or
no, so like the guy that did it with me was like, you want to see something cool, and he like did this like little maneuver where you feel like zero gravity for a second, like you go down and go up for a second, so you like literally feel like you're like floating there. It's not heights, it's not falling like that. This is all shit they were telling me when I was like asking questions. They're like, it's you can't. There's no way to describe it. There's no way to explain it to you because you haven't done it. Like it doesn't feel like you're falling. It doesn't feel like like I'm not afraid of heights, but it doesn't feel like heights. Like it is literally a whole new feeling.
damn.
It's nuts.
I feel like every time I think of skydiving, all I think about is the Power Rangers movie. I don't know if you saw that a while back, but they like all skydive at the beginning of the movie, and it was tight. It was
Yeah, it's definitely something else, man. If you haven't done it, I definitely say you should always try it at least once.
I'm
Everybody
gonna I'm gonna do it for sure.
for sure. Of
Hell yeah, Tyler, I appreciate you coming on the podcast.
course,
Fuck
man. Of
yeah.
course.
Can do you feel like you can remember like your first, I guess, exposure to sex work at all?
So, man, I don't know if I necessarily remember my first exposure to sex work. I remember my first exposure to porn, you know,
Yeah,
which I guess was kind of that. But no, like I grew up in a pretty religious Catholic, Mexican Catholic family. And like that kind of stuff didn't get talked about, like homosexuality, that kind of stuff. Like we just didn't talk about stuff like that. Homosexuality, sex work, anything now that's just like so on the forefront of people's conversation nowadays. Just like we didn't talk about that shit. So
yeah. I mean, I was raised Baptist, but I feel like it was the same way. It was like nothing, like no really kind of like sex talk or anything like
wow,
that.
yeah, I never got like the birds and the bees talk or anything like that because like in the way I was raised, like I should be married by the time I'm having sex, so I should like figure that shit out anyway.
Yeah. How'd you get into sex work? How'd you start?
Funny story. So I was a frequenter of Craigslist casual encounters back in the day before Fosta Sesta. So I used to get on casual encounters quite a bit, and this was back in Missouri. And I I didn't understand at this point, and obviously there's women on the internet, but there's like a saying, there's no women on the internet, and I didn't know
Yeah.
that saying at that point, and so I would put these ads out for male looking for female, and I would get all these responses from quote unquote females, and we would do the talking and the sexting, and everything would lead up to the point where we'd about to meet, and then they'd be like, "Oh, I got to tell you, I'm a dude." And I'm like, God fucking damn it, bro. You know what I mean? And that happened like 5 or 6 times to where finally, one guy offered me money. I was like, no, bro, get lost. And he was like, I'll give you $200 and you just got to let me suck your dick. I was like, whew,
Hey.
that's a lot of money.
Yeah.
So yeah, man. I mean, that's kind of where the whole straight best friend experience thing that I have kind of coined over the years came in because I really learned that like we were kind of talking about a little bit before we got started, like the thing that sets male escorts aside from female escorts is that there's no female equivalency of grinder, really. You know what I mean? Guys can go have sex at any time. So whenever you're providing sex work for a gay man, you have to give them something other than sex. And I learned on very, very early on that gay guys love the idea of a straight man. Like they're like infatuated with the idea of having a straight guy for the hour.
Yeah. What does the straight best friend experience kind of look like?
So if you couldn't tell from my name, I don't bottom at all. I don't suck dick at all. And I'm not intimate. You know what I mean? So I'm not gonna kiss you. I'm not gonna hold your hand. I'm not gonna cuddle with you after we're done. I'll talk about sports with you. I'll bullshit with you. We can kick it. Watch some porn or whatever. But like those are like my hard lines. I'm the same things that pretty much like if you can imagine yourself as a gay man and you talked your straight best friend into letting you fool around with them for an hour, like the same lines that guy would have. That's the same lines that I have.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, 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 for sure. When you like, how did it go from just like, like casual encounters on Craigslist to I'm gonna like do this kind of like professionally? Yeah, how was that transition?
So I didn't go directly from just like encounters like that to where I'm at now. I would say, if anything, I've done kind of like a loop back around. So I went from doing that. I did that for a little bit, and then I ended up meeting a guy. I was trying to rent a room, and I ended up meeting a guy that, lo and behold, unbeknownst to me, was a gay man that was into like a lot of like financial domination and all this stuff that like I knew about just from like my little experience in the industry, but didn't know a lot about. And he was like very versed in it. And he pretty much just was like, hey, man, if you want to like do this, like I can facilitate that. You know what I mean? Like he set me up with a really nice computer, let me stay there rent free instead of me having to pay rent. And yeah, he just like, that's where I really got into financial domination. There was a site back in the day called cashdoms.net. It was like a Facebook rip, essentially. Like they ripped the code from Facebook. And yeah, you could either have a profile as a sub or a profile as a dom. And it was really efficient, man. It was pretty cool.
How does I guess financial domination kind of work?
Oh. I mean, there's not a one size fits all to financial domination. So it all comes back to me getting money from them, but it manifests itself in a lot of different ways. So there's guys that like to be financially dominated by like via blackmail. So like they'll send me pictures of themselves doing something that they shouldn't be doing or dressed in drag or something like that, and then they'll send me the emails of their boss, their phone number of their boss or something like that.
Oh fuck.
Yeah, bro. And they'll be like, if I don't do everything you want, send this picture to my boss. It'll ruin my life. You know what I mean? Like crazy shit. Or it can be, people that just want to be degraded or made fun of. I had a guy with a micro penis, Chuck. I used to call him Chapstick Chuck. He he just he liked to dress up in big like adult baby diapers and be made fun of, man. And he loved it when I would bring friends. Like he would always pay extra. Like I have a couple homies that I'd be like, "Yo, you want to make $50? All you gotta do is just laugh at this guy's little dick on webcam for a minute." And like he loved that shit.
Man, that's hell yeah.
And it's sad, man. Like I had to get out of it because it's like these guys, a lot of these guys are powerless, bro. Like him in general, like him in specific. Like I'm thinking of like he would tell me like this is ruining my life. Like this is ruining my marriage. My wife's gonna find out, and I'd be like, bro, stop talking to me. Then like I can't. He'd be
God.
like I can't. I finally made him pay me $1,000 to block him.
Damn, that's great.
Yeah. And I held up to it, and of course, he's tried to message me. I mean, this was years ago, but he tried to message me multiple times on different accounts after that, and I did hold up to it. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, do you feel like when somebody is that vulnerable with you to where it's like, hey, if I keep doing this, it's gonna ruin my life, it's gonna fuck me over. You're like, do you feel like, well, maybe I can't do this, or is it like it's on them to make the decision to say no? I
it's
guess.
hard, and
Or
honestly, so something about me, man, is I'm in recovery. So I'm an addict. I'm a heroin addict. I was a heroin addict when I was younger. That's one of the main reasons I moved out here was to get sober. And I've been sober for quite some time now. But I have a heart, bro. You know what I mean? Like I am a sex worker, and I'm able to shut off. I'm very sociopathic in some ways where I can just kind of shut everything off. But I do have a heart, bro. I am empathic and I do feel for people. So it's hard when people say stuff like that. And that's ultimately why I had to stop financial domination, because I felt as if I wasn't doing a good service for people anymore. You know what I mean? I was hurting more than I was helping.
yeah.
And I started to get like this God complex, bro. It's my name when I did it was Tatted God. That's what that
Oh,
was my name at the time, was Tatted God. That was my cashdoms.net name. And dude, I had these guys calling me God and asking me if they could, come or go take their wife on a date, and just like I controlled all these men, and it just like I don't know, bro, got to my head, dude. I couldn't do that anymore. I had to be honest with myself and like realize that I was heading down a slippery slope mentally if I kept doing that.
does it ever like? I guess like not necessarily like turning it on, but turning it off. But like when you get out of that, like I guess financial domination situation back into like I guess like regular everyday interactions, does it feel any differently? I guess.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. And that's one of the biggest, like I said, one of the reasons why I had to stop doing that. And I actually took a little bit of a hiatus from sex work for about a year at that point. But yeah, man, because it's just like it affected my everyday relationships, from my relationships with my mom to my relationships with my girlfriend to my friends to my roommate to everything. I just started to
Yeah.
become like a fucking prick. And I mean, rightfully so. I had,
If you don't want me to dick, just pay me some money.
yeah, exactly. But it's like, dude, I was making a lot of money as a young kid, not out of college, like out of high school, like fucking just bossing people around and making fun of them. Like, it gets to your head.
Yeah. How was getting back after taking like a hiatus? How was like getting back into sex work? How was that?
I mean, it was so getting back into it. I knew I wasn't gonna do like financial domination, so I tried ChatterBait and stuff like that. And to be 100% honest, like I was a little disappointed, just because the money was definitely not the same,
Yeah.
like at all. So I kind of decided then, like, if I was going to do this, I was going to try the whole straight best friend experience thing out here in Arizona and see how it did. And it did well. So
Hell yeah.
my thought was like, Missouri's a very conservative state, and that's probably why I do so well. Like Arizona's a lot more progressive. There's a lot more chance for free gay sex out here. Like the chance, I was telling myself all the things as to why I wasn't going to make money out here, but it's been the exact opposite. So.
Okay, so you're like the move to Arizona has definitely been like a positive move.
Oh yeah, 100%. Like the clientele I see here, the amount of money I make here as opposed to back home is just night and day.
Oh fuck yeah.
Night and day. And I'm right next to LA and shit. So like I said, like I was telling when we were texting earlier, like I had somebody fly me on a private $8,000 private jet flight to LA like a month and a half ago. Like that would not happen if I was living in Missouri. I can promise you that.
Yeah. God damn, that's awesome.
I know. If I would have known how much money he spent on that flight, I would have been like, bro, just fly me commercial and give me half of that.
Yeah. Starting out in escorting, right? Did
Mhm.
you have, I guess, like going into, did you have any like preconceived idea of what that would look like? Are you kind of like, I'm going into this, I'm not really sure what's going to happen, or did you have an idea like of what you thought it would be going in?
No, I mean, like I said, I wasn't raised talking about sex work. So, and even more to add to that, like male sex work. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I don't know. I didn't really have any idea as to what it was going to be like. I knew that I liked having sex. I knew that I'm a straight guy, but like I can definitely still enjoy, interactions with a man, especially if there's money involved. So it's like, why not capitalize on that? So I didn't really have a lot of expectations other than to just make money, which is
Yeah.
ultimately what happened. So
Did anybody kind of like, did you have anybody to look to? Was there anybody who kind of like was able to help you along the way, or is it just completely solo you doing it yourself?
So, I mean, with the financial domination, like obviously that Kevin guy helped me a lot. You know, the gay guy that I lived with, like he definitely helped me in that aspect. Out here, it's funny, dude, because so like I said, I'm a fan of the podcast. I actually do listen to the podcast. So,
Hell yeah.
when I started listening, like I heard you ask people and women talk about their experience about like reaching out to other women escorts and stuff like that. And I was like, man, I've never thought of that. I've never even thought of that. So I did. I reached out on Friendboy to about 5 different dudes, and I got one message back from a guy that gave me some other sites to post on, which was nice. But I mean, other than that, like you learn little simple tricks and everything along the way. You know what I mean? Like you learn the do's and the don'ts along the way for sure.
That makes sense. Do you feel like there was like a learning curve or like a waiver period to when you like weren't good at it?
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I mean, I've always been good at connecting with people and making people feel comfortable. That's kind of my forte. Like, I'm a very social person, but like I said, there's little things that you learn, like time wasters. I hear people talk about it on your podcast all the time. It's 100% true, bro. Like, you learn. I can tell now within the first couple messages of somebody whether they're actually going to meet with me or not. I could not do that in the beginning. You know what I mean? I would
Yeah.
waste, and especially over webcam, bro. Sometimes I'm just so trusting. You know what I mean? Like I would do. I would have a guy that I've done a couple shows with before, so automatically I can trust him and do a 3 hour show with him where he's supposed to pay me at the end, and then he doesn't, and that's like
Oh fuck.
$900 at the end of the show that he didn't give me. You know what I mean? It's like, so
Fuck.
I don't do shit like that anymore. You know what I mean? So yeah, I definitely have gotten better.
God damn. That'd be the worst. I feel like just demoralizing just to like I just did this thing for you and then you're just like
Yeah.
not gonna pay.
Oh, it's the worst.
God.
It's the worst.
Do you see both men and women or couples or anything? Is it what's
Yeah.
your
So, I mean, I say 99.9% men. I've met with in all my years of doing this. I've met with one single female, a female, like a female by herself, and I've met with probably uh, 10 or 15 couples, but yeah, it's primarily men.
Okay. I know. I was listening to a podcast a while back, and they were interviewing a male escort, and I guess he only saw women, but he mentioned that when he started out, like it took him a while to like get dates, so it took a while for him to book stuff. He was like going on dates and like taking pictures of his food and like faking basically that he was going on dates. Was there
Yeah.
like when you started out, was there like a kind of a slow progression to get dates, or was it like you start out and then you're getting messages immediately?
Yeah, no, I mean it's definitely progressed. So the site, I don't know if you checked out the site, Friendboy at all, but there's like a review part like built into it. So as I started to get review, like I've got good reviews, and as I started to get good reviews, I started to get more and more people that would hit me up and reference those reviews. So I obviously it's progressed, I would say, due to that. But yeah, I mean, like when I first started being as I'm willing to take pretty much any, like I'm not gay, so you know what I mean. So I don't need to be attracted to the person that I'm going to meet. Like there isn't a guy that I'm going to see and think he's attractive or not attractive. You know what I mean? It doesn't really
Yeah.
matter to me. So and I'm pretty open as to what I will do as far as like fetish stuff. You know what I mean? Like obviously I'm not gonna bottom or I'm not gonna suck a dick, but there's a lot of fetish stuff that I will do. Like I'll pee on a guy, I'll shit on a guy, I'll do whatever, if that's what
Yeah.
he's into. You know what I mean? So I don't know. Anytime I start back up, because I'll take like a month or two break. Anytime I start back up though, it's normally messages right away nowadays.
Fuck yeah. Fuck yeah. What do you think the most important thing you learned starting out was?
Rule wise or like
I guess we could say rule wise, like yeah, like say you like I guess start out like say with the dude like so you had the guy like the ghosted you after the webcam like nothing
mhm,
nothing is always going to go right like starting out in any kind of like
yeah.
new profession. Was there anything like I guess that happened you're like oh now I know this is something I learned like is there I guess maybe like like rule I guess maybe rules that you follow that you learned through like escorting I guess.
I mean, there's like the little stuff, like always always count the money first. Always have them put the money on the table. Don't let them hand you the money directly. A big thing that it was not me that ended up getting. So I was working for like somewhat of an agency, I guess, out here. It wasn't really like a professional agency. It was just a group of us guys. And I got a call that I just felt really sketchy about and didn't want to take. Well, text. and I ended up passing it off to somebody, and it ended up being an undercover police officer. And so I learned that day, like another one of the dudes is like, "Oh, bro, always, always, always have them send you a picture of their dick, like always, regardless, because I'm not gay, so I don't care to see their dick. Like I could give a fuck less whether they have a 1 inch dick or a 7 inch dick. It doesn't matter to me." But he's like, "You always have to have them send you a picture of their dick because an undercover police officer can't do that in an investigation. Like they can't send
Okay.
you a picture of them naked in order to get you to come in there. Like that's like baiting or whatever." I'm like, okay,
Okay, like entrapment or whatever. Okay.
yeah, yeah, entrapment. That's the word I'm looking for. Yeah.
Damn. Okay. That makes sense.
But I mean, I would, I've been lucky, dude. I have like one, like kind of sketchy shit that happened really. Um, but I mean, that happened more recently than anything. And it's because of all those things that I've learned that nothing bad happened to me. You know what I mean? Like that I was
Yeah.
able to be fine in that situation. So
Hell yeah. Being that, like a lot of, I feel like a lot of clients that, see sex workers will do so to like live out a fantasy that they necessarily can't really do in their everyday lives. Do you
absolutely.
feel like a lot of people coming to you are like seeing a male escort for the first time? Do you feel like that's a thing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like the thing with guys, man, is they will, they'll tell you that it's their first time for the first 50 times. That's almost like part of it for them. So you don't really know. I definitely say that there's guys that I've met up with that are really, really nervous, and I can tell that I'm one of the first, if not the first, one of the first like escorts that they've ever seen for sure. Now, as to whether they've messed around with guys or not, I don't
Yeah.
speculate.
Yeah. I guess it's hard to, because people will really say it. Like you said, like people lie and people say
Oh
anything
yeah.
to,
Oh yeah. Guys will always say, "Oh, this is my first time. I've never done this before." Blah 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 blah. Or first time. You know what I mean? You see it all the time. It's like, bro, no, it's
yeah.
not. You just suck my dick like a fucking champ, bro. Don't tell me that was your fucking first time ever doing that.
Yeah. Be like, if that was your first time, god damn, that was good.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Who would you say your average clientele is?
So I mean, it depends. I do nowadays. I get a lot of guys my age, a lot of guys my age that are really into like the straight best friend thing. I do get some older gentlemen. I'd like to think of myself as pretty well spoken, so like I can go out and sit at dinner and also be interesting as well. So
Yeah.
I have a couple older guys that have known me since I first moved out here that like to take me out once or twice a year and hang out, and they'll get a hotel room and I'll hang out with them all day or whatever, and they'll give me $1,500 or whatever. But I would say like on a day-to-day basis, my average client is either guys my age to, which I'm 27, so, or, 25 to 35, 40 years old. And yeah, just
Okay.
normally gay men, normally a lot. Before I really started to hammer the straight best friend experience thing, because I mean, I've always done that, but I've really started to coin it like over this last year. Um, I got a lot more, like, you get a lot more gay guys, a lot more, sorry, not gay guys, a lot more guys that are married, that are like, low key gay, like doing it on
Okay.
the hush hush stuff like that. But
I feel like just I was talking to my buddy before we did this interview, and I had mentioned like the straight best friend experience. He's like, "Oh my god, that is so fucking great!" Like
yeah,
it seems like literally like, "Oh, let's watch the football game and then let's fuck." Like it's like
yeah.
what?
Yeah,
Yes.
no, I mean, and that's pretty much what it is, dude. And like, I have some guys that are so into it that they want it to be like a role play scenario where I have to really act like, what? Like, you want to suck my dick? That's weird. You know what I mean? But
Yeah,
whatever floats their boat, man. It's
that's
not the
fair.
weirdest thing I've ever done, that's for sure. So,
Yeah. Do you feel like when people reach out to you, they know how to reach out to you correctly?
no, no, no. I feel like maybe 25% of people. Now, that was nice. I feel like maybe 10% of people do. And when they do, I always make sure to tell them that they did a good job. But no, and honestly, man, I almost feel like, and since I've listened to your podcast, I've felt even more of a sense of duty to do it. But I don't take a lot of appointments anymore, not like I used to. I have a normal job now. I very rarely take appointments, but I get a lot of messages, and I never used to respond to messages if I wasn't interested, especially like if they said something off the wall now, but like or right off the wall, like right off the flip, you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
now I message them back and I'll be like, bro, I really hope that you're not messaging other people like this. Like this is not the way to do it. Just to let you know.
Yeah.
And no, I'm not interested, and I won't be taking your appointment. Guys are nuts, bro. Guys are. I mean, we think with our dicks, bro. I didn't realize how disgusting we were, until I started doing
Yeah.
it. Yeah,
I'll see some messages and I'm like, Tog, how did you think that like how did you think somebody was gonna fucking respond to that shit? Like what?
exactly. Or like, especially like since my shit says like straight best friend experience, like it's very clear like what I do and what I don't do, and then they'll send me a message that's like, I want you to take my dick, and it's like, bro, do you not know how to read? Like, is that what this is? Like, you
Yeah.
don't know how to read, obviously.
Yeah. That's because you literally say on it's like I am a top. I'm not
Yeah,
getting fucked.
yeah,
Like what?
I know,
Like
I know. And it's still, man, it's ridiculous.
because I was thinking about it, right? And I was like, I guess with your name, like you know that I guess the people that are contacting you know that you're going to be a top for them,
Yeah,
and that I feel like that cuts down kind of the explicit conversation that would happen into like
you'd think.
what they want, going into it.
Yeah, and that's the thing, man. Like with me being so picky and a la carte about what I do and what I don't do, like I know that like it's not the best to get super explicit over text, you know what I mean? But I do allow some of it. Like I allow somebody to, if as long as they're not being gross, like I will allow you to tell me what you want from me. That's not wrong. Like I don't. Some people like. I've heard people on your show, with different opinions, and I understand why. Like, I do understand the legitimacy issue of it and stuff. But for me, like, I don't want somebody to come and not be happy. You know what I mean? Or come and think that something else is going to happen because I didn't do a good enough job of explaining. Because it's very apparent that even though all those things you said, like that everything should be apparent what they're going to get. I've still had guys where I don't fucking vet enough and I don't ask them what they want, and then I get in their truck or whatever, and they're like, "So you gonna suck my dick?" I'm like, "No,
No.
turn around, drive me back home." No, I'm not.
God. In a session, do you ever feel like pressure to live up to clients' expectations at all?
I mean, in a sense, not really though, to be honest. Like I know that like I don't care whether a guy comes or not. Like once I come, I'm done. You know what I mean? Unless you've paid for multiple hours, once I come, I'm done. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
no, in that regard, no. Now, I don't want somebody to come and spend, hard-earned money with me and then really feel like I was just boring or something like that, which I don't do that. You know what I mean? Like I make sure that that doesn't happen, but I would feel some type of way, yeah, if it was something like that. Like I've had a situation where I went to meet up with a guy where it was more like a companionship thing where he just was really just he was in town and he just he said whether we have sex or not, it's not that big of a deal. I just really I like your profile. You seem interesting, and I was super 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 stoned before I went there, and I didn't feel like I don't know, like there was a couple times where I'm like, wait, what were we talking about? You know what I mean? So like I felt bad about that. And I sent I sent that guy a message afterwards and told him like, if you're ever in Phoenix again, I will meet up with you at a discounted rate because I feel bad about that. Like,
Yeah.
so in that regard, yeah. But other than that, like no, like I know I'm hot. Like I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this for fucking 8 years. Like, you know what I mean? Like if you didn't like an experience with me, you're probably not gonna like an experience with most escorts. So that's like your own shit.
Yeah. What I know you mentioned like Friend Boy. What are some like male escort websites? I feel like I don't know like
So you're looking at it. Friend Boy, and then there's Mint Boy. Rent Boy was good back in the day. Rent Boy was great back in the day. There's Rent Man also, which I'm not on. There's Rent Monsieur, which is another one which I'm not on because that's mostly people that are wanting like massages, which I'm not into.
okay.
Rent Man and Rent Monsieur are both more so guys looking for like a twink boy to fuck, you know what I mean? Which that's
Okay.
not my style.
Yeah.
But dude, really, honestly, friend boy, bro, and grinder. Like I have a grinder that occasionally I and like Sorry, I thought that I met a guy that I walked into his house and he had his fetish was like haircutting, barber. He had a full barber shop set up in his house. Like you could not distinguish the fact that you were not in an actual barber shop in his fucking living room and bedroom. But
Damn.
anyway, I met him on Grinder. You know what I mean? And he's one of my best clients. He sees me once a week and fucking gives me $250 every time. So
Oh, that's great.
yeah, there's not sites like like there is for women. You know what I mean? Definitely
Yeah.
not.
Do in screening somebody, right? I know
Mhm.
like a lot of female escorts, they will like use like references from like say you'll like seen another provider, they'll give you a reference to the provider you're trying to see currently. Does
Yeah.
the reference system, is that like prevalent in male escorting as well, or is that, do you guys use that?
No, it's not. So, and I wish it was, and I'm just as guilty, bro. Like, I literally just had somebody the other day that asked me if I was available, and I was like, "No." And they're like, "Do you have any reference?" And I just ignored the question. And it's not that like I just ignored it because I really don't. Like, I don't know. I wish I did know. I guess I could, refer him to the guy that showed me those other websites, but he's like a fucking 55-year-old bear. You know what I mean? So I'm sure if they were into me, they're probably not into him. But there's just not as many male escorts as there is female escorts, so it makes it hard to do that.
Yeah. Coming from like Arizona or coming from Missouri going to Arizona, is there like a male sex work community in Phoenix where you are? Was there one in Missouri? Is there a difference between the two?
So in Missouri, I never met anybody else that did it. Mind you, I only did it for a little bit in Missouri, and I was pretty young. Out here, like I said, I worked with a little group of guys for a little bit a few years ago, but outside of that, like it's pretty slim. Like I don't know anybody personally right now that like I, I don't talk to any of those guys that I was in that group. I mean, like I know them all, I've got them on Facebook, but I mean, like personally, I don't really talk to them. But other than that, like I don't even know another male escort that I could think of.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
it's just like it's so different, like the two sides. Like you're both essentially doing the same thing, but it's just like how the businesses are run are so different. It's crazy.
so different.
Do I know you mentioned reviews on the like Friendboy website? Are reviews like a big thing within male escorting as well?
Not really, just on Friendboy. And like the cool thing about it is like from what I understand, like some of those like women's review sites, like they make you write reviews in order to be able to see reviews. They don't do that, so it that blocks out any need to write like a fake review. The only
Yeah.
thing that scares me is that like somebody could get on there and write something bad, and like if I refuse to see somebody. So, but honestly, if I'm being honest, it does keep me accountable. It makes me remember that whenever someone's being shitty, and I as has already sent me a deposit, and I think like I could just fucking take this person's deposit and not meet up with them, or I could just send them their deposit back and tell them that I actually don't want to meet with them, and then I end
Yeah.
up sending them their deposit back because I don't want a bad review. So it does keep me accountable if I'm being honest.
Okay, that makes sense. Does burnout ever happen for you?
I don't know. I mean, I wouldn't call it burnout, but I'm good at letting off the gas. Like I never let sex work be the main priority in my life, or even the second or third or fourth. I have so many other things that are important to me that take priority that I do on a daily basis that it would be hard for me to burn out. Really, you know what I mean? I feel like
Yeah.
I do have times where like sometimes I'll purposely take off time from it, and sometimes it's just like, man, I just realized that I haven't even met up with somebody in a month. You know what I mean? Just because I've been so busy doing other shit.
Yeah.
So
Has have you been affected by like COVID at all? Has there been like how's your business been with like COVID happening?
yeah. So I mean, it went. I went from making more money in the sex industry than I ever had before the months leading up to COVID to making the littlest amount of money. And I mean, I went a month without anybody even hitting me up, let alone having like an actual appointment. It took like when COVID started, it took like a month for me to get, or like 2 months, a month and a half for me to even start getting text messages about people like, "Hey, once this is all over, I want to meet up," blah 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 blah, and stuff like that.
Oh
So I
yeah,
didn't
not
see
even
people
not
until
even
that.
not even like trying to book you like, "Oh, I would like to book you eventually," you know.
Yeah, yeah, exactly, exactly. Once this is all said and done with, like it was going to be over in 3 weeks, like we thought.
Yeah.
But after everybody realized that it wasn't going to be over anytime soon, people started to come back out, and I've seen people here and there, but that's what made me get a normal job again this time because I was doing primarily sex work. I've gone back and forth. I've been a full time sex worker. I've been a part time, and I was doing primarily sex work, making over $10,000 a month before the COVID shit, and then went to having to
God,
take a normal job. So
goddamn COVID. Fuck. What do you feel the best part about the job, worst part of the job is for you?
I'd say the best part is, just being. I love being adored, man. Like I love being like awed over and oohed over. You know what I mean? And so like it really does a number for my self confidence, like the job, because like a lot of these guys like are obsessed. Like they really like I'm the best part of their life. Like they look forward to meeting with me once a week or whatever, and they go work some shitty job and do this so they can do that. Like that's a big boost. Um,
Yeah.
and I'd say I don't know. The worst part of it is, I mean, aside from like the stigma, I mean, I wish that I'm already pretty open about it. I wish that I could be more open about it. Like, and then yeah, just like the guys, what I mean? Guys are fucking disgusting sometimes and annoying as fuck. But
Yeah.
like a text app that I paid for, so it's like I've got this same number now, this other number now that I can just I'll just delete the app sometimes, and
Oh,
then download
yeah.
it. And if I paid for it and I sign into it, I have the same number. So yeah, sometimes it gets too much, and I just don't
Just
have the time to tell people that they're not coming at me correctly.
yeah, yeah. How is it? I know you said you're like open with sex work in your life. So I guess like people in your life know about
Yeah, most people like my best friends all know. Like I'm talking to a girl right now, kind of, and I asked her like one of the not the first things I asked her, but after we had been talking for a while, and obviously before we slept together, I asked her, like, how do you feel about sex work? And funny enough, she was like, "Oh, I'm a sex worker." I
Oh hell
was
yeah.
like, okay, cool, hell yeah, me too.
Oh fuck yeah. That's the
But
best.
yeah, but, like, it is kinda weird to tell the girls, like, I like this girl, and if she hadn't been a sex worker and I told her that, like, she coulda just, like, stopped talking to me, you know what I mean? So that part kinda sucked, but
Yeah. Do you feel like it's beneficial having somebody to talk to about work at all?
oh, 100%. Yeah, like, I have a therapist, that I see, and, like, he's super, super, pro sex work and, supportive, but then on top of that, like, it's very important that my friends know what's going on. Like, my boy David, like, I have to have somebody that like, when I went out to LA, for instance, when I got flown out to LA, like, I had to call David and let him know I was about to get on a fucking private jet and give him my location. Like, I couldn't just
Yeah.
get on a fucking private jet and fly to, California with nobody knowing where I was at. So
Yeah.
it's definitely important.
Fuck yeah. Do you feel like your views on sex or sexuality have changed since starting?
Um, I mean, yes, but I don't know how much sex work necessarily had to do with that. I mean, it's hard to say. You gotta remember, bro, I was fucking 18 or 19 years old when I started this, and I'm 28 now, almost 27, 28 almost now. So it's been almost a decade, So naturally, like my thoughts on sex have changed, just regardless. Like
Yeah,
they would have, regardless of whether I was getting my dick sucked for money or not. But um,
that's
yeah, I
true.
mean, I think that I'm definitely I think I can attribute to sex work the fact that I can separate sex and love sex, like making love and having sex, you know what I mean? Definitely.
Yeah. Have your views on men changed at all since starting?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know, dude. I've always known that we're fucking horny bastards and we are gross, but like, I don't know, man. It's crazy, bro. It's kind of sad, dude, honestly, to know that like every single dude so far, at least that I've talked to, like, has got that side to him. It's like, fuck, man. Like,
Yeah. It's a real thing.
motherfuckers running this whole shit. You know what I mean? Like, what are they doing?
Yeah. Has how you view yourself changed at all since starting sex work?
Yeah, I mean, and that also goes to, the fact of, I have to attribute the fact that there's been nearly a decade. But yeah, I mean, like I've learned so much from myself through sex work. I think, doing things like financial domination and stuff like that really extenuated like and made my character defects like even bigger and more noticeable in the beginning, to where honestly it helped me. Like I don't know if I would have been able to realize so quickly that like I'm a narcissist and have a god complex and I need to like chill the fuck out sometimes if I wasn't doing that shit. You know what I mean? Like it may have taken me a decade or years, another decade or years and years and years to figure that out on my own. So
Damn, that makes sense because I guess people are fucking telling you that shit. Like you get to see it like in action, and you're like, holy shit,
yeah, and like to
this is
the nth
who.
degree also, you know what I mean? Like you get to really turn it up.
Yeah. What would you tell somebody wanting to get into escorting, like a dude?
Oh man, it's rough, dude. Like I would first ask them if they're gay or straight. You know what I mean? And if they're straight, dude, it's hard to do this job as a straight guy. But for me, man, like I'm kind of a sex addict. So that part definitely makes it easy. But I think I would really try and probe them to find out if they were. This is the thing with sex work, Tank. About one out of every 100 people should and could do it. That's not, and that's honestly, I would be willing to say one out of every 50 people that are currently escorting should and could do it. You know what I mean? It takes a certain kind of mindset. You have to really be able to turn shit off and just take things as they are and not let them affect you in your daily life. And that's hard to do as just like a normal person, you
Yeah,
know?
because so many people just like their regular, just like working at CVS, they carry that shit home with them, you know.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
I feel like this is like
Exactly.
on an elevated level.
A lot of people couldn't handle sales. It's a no game. You know what I mean? It's a game of no's. You hear no all day. You know what I mean? And every so often you'll hear yes. Some people can't handle that. It's just like that with sex work. Like you deal with a lot of fucking shitty people and a lot of people that are bullshitting or people that are going to say stuff that's going to disgust you or stuff like that you won't end up meeting with or making any money off of. And that's also part of the work. It's not just getting your dick sucked for money. It's all the other shit too.
Yeah, I feel like the like getting your like the actual like meetup or like the sex part is like that's only a fraction of the
Yeah,
fucking
it's
work
nothing.
that goes in behind the scenes to actually have that like to make that whole situation work, you know? Like there's so much front end work that the fucking actual meetup is just like a small part of the entire
Absolutely.
interaction.
Absolutely. Yeah.
What would you tell somebody wanting to see an escort for the first time?
Be respectful. Um, remember that this person is also the most important thing to remember is that that person's probably not horny also. So just because you're horny at the moment doesn't mean that the other person's probably horny at that time. So like that means like don't enter the conversation, all sexual and aroused and this is what I want and blah 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 blah. It's like, dude, don't do that. And I think girls probably,
Chill.
yeah, chill the fuck out, man. Chill out. That's the main thing. Don't send me just hey either. I hate that. I hate that so much. Hey.
What are you supposed to do with hay?
I just don't even respond normally. But sometimes now, like I said, sometimes I've gotten better. I'll send them a message back and be like, "Did you really think that was gonna work?"
That
And they'll
shit
be like,
doesn't even work on dating apps, yo.
"Yeah, I know, I know."
Somebody says, "Hey, what are you supposed like? Hey, how's it like? What do you do with fucking hay in any scenario?"
No, you just say no back. No,
Even like you text your like you don't even text your friends that shit.
no, no. We have a friend Zach that's like notorious for that. Like he'll be like, "Hey, what are you doing?" You'll be like, "Nothing. What are you doing?" And he'll text back, "Nothing." I'm like, "Bro, say more."
We want to keep the conversation going, and your fucking single word answer does not progress this
Yeah, dude,
conversation.
get the fuck out of here. No, I'm notorious for that though, bro. Like on Tinder, I'll just send a girl back a message. If she just says like "Hey," just no, no.
That's
Or if
great.
I'm not into it, I'll just say back no thanks.
That's great.
That's the nicest way you can handle that.
Yeah. How long do you see yourself in sex work?
Honestly, man, like provided that I find a partner that's okay with it, I see myself doing content work probably. I personally am trying to get back into doing content again as opposed to meetups. Just because I don't want to do meetups for the rest of my life. So I could see myself doing meetups for probably another 10, 15 years tops. And I could see myself doing content. I mean, bro, if people want to pay to see my old dick, I'll show them. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I don't care.
Have you ever like dabbled in like OnlyFans or anything like that?
I had an OnlyFans. I posted one picture on there. I'm just I'm so bad at that shit, dude. And I think they shut it down because you have to be um, more
Post.
consistent than that.
That makes sense.
Yeah, I don't know. I have a Snap too. I have a premium Snap that I don't do anything on. Like
Damn.
I need to get better about it. I think if I had a partner that was into it also, that it would be a lot easier to do content.
Yeah, because you're not being like reliant on other people. Like if you're able to do it, like yeah, with your partner or like by yourself, like that would be makes it so much easier because you're not relying on anybody else to produce anything. You know?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
What do you have a best experience as an escort?
I mean, I really liked. Okay, so the when I went out to LA recently, the guy that flew me out there, for some reason, decided he had friends there, and he decided to tell his friends that I was his cousin. So it kind of got me out of having to do anything sexual, and
Nice.
I just hung out for like 8 hours with this dude and his friends while they fucking did coke, and like I just kicked it with them and chilled while they did coke and talked to them and hung out and then flew home. So I mean that was pretty chill.
That's dope.
I
That's
got my
amazing.
barber guy. The barber guy's amazing, dude. That's where I get my haircut. He's a barber and he's got a fucking full barber shop. He's super into hair, super into cutting hair. Like he fucking like has to take a break and go jack off in the middle of cutting my hair because he's so into it. But I mean, I don't care. It's $250 and a free haircut every week. So
Fuck yeah, that's dope.
yeah, I mean, it's definitely not the worst, you know.
Yeah. Are you a fan of stand up comedy at all?
I am. Yeah, I am. Yeah, I've always been a fan of stand up comedy. That's kind of what got me into. That's why I like Conspiracy Beer Me so much because it's more like comedy than
Yeah.
anything else. You know, I like those guys a lot. I think
Dude,
they're
they're
funny,
super funny.
super funny.
Do you have a favorite comic at all?
Probably Eric Andre, if I'm being honest. I That's my like Tim and Eric Andre, like weird fucking. Is it funny or is it weird or is it gross? That's my kind of shit.
I fucking love the Eric Andre show. Like,
Oh my god,
so
bro!
funny.
I saw him live, bro, out here in Phoenix, and he fucking whipped his cock out and showed the whole audience his ball sack. I was like,
Yeah.
hell yeah. Oh, and then he had two guys get up on stage and made them chug bottles of Hidden Valley Ranch for t-shirts, bro. Like, yeah, that's the shit that I want, dude. That's the kind of shit I'm trying to be on.
That's so dope. Like that's like I just love just like yeah, like is it funny or is it weird? Like what the fuck's happening? Oh my god, this is crazy. This is insane. It's just like he pushes the fucking boundaries of everything. You know, it's great. I
Yeah,
love it. Like
yeah.
fuck
No,
yeah.
he's definitely good. He's definitely good.
Hell yeah. Before we get out of here, do you want to end on anything funny at all? You got anything funny for the people?
I don't know about funny. So okay, so in the questions when you wrote them, you asked me funny or strange.
Oh
So
yeah, funny or interesting. It's been
I have a strange one. I have probably the wildest thing that's ever happened to me in escorting. So,
fuck yeah. Let's hear it.
and let me preface this by saying that I may lose some support here. I know I probably didn't handle this situation the 100% best, but I'm trying to be a better dude every day than I was the day before. So, all right. So I had a call for a guy to come. It was out here in Phoenix to come to a hotel in Paradise Valley, which just for some reference is like 45 miles from where I'm at. So
Okay.
it's quite a drive. It took me like an hour to get there. And I talked to this guy very, very extensively before, got a picture of him, everything. And, you know, what he wanted was that he wanted me to come in there and he was going to be like in the bathroom and he wanted me to grab him, like choke him, wrestle him to the ground and like force him to suck my dick. Like it was like essentially a rape thing. Like
Okay.
he wanted like a rape fantasy. Right. So I drive all the way out there. So we agree on the amount of money. I drive all the way out there. And so the first weird thing that happens is he switches the hotel room number on me, which is weird. Like,
Oh god.
you know what I mean? Like he gave me a hotel room number to come all the way out there. And then when I get there, he gives me a different one, which like I kind of get that because like I've done shit like that before, like where I'm having somebody come and I don't know whether they're actually going to come or not. So I don't tell them the exact address. You know what I mean? Like I get that.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm like, whatever. You know what I mean? So I go up to and that's the thing too, is that like he let me walk all the way up to the first door and knock and text him and be like, I'm here. And he's like, oh, my bad. I'm in a different room. I'm like, that's weird.
Damn, dog.
So luckily there was nobody in that fucking room. So I walked to the next room, the room that he gives me that he's at, and the door's cracked just like he says. I crack it open. I can see the back of what looks like the guy that sent me the picture of him. Like, mind you, his face wasn't in the picture. It was just his body.
Oh
He didn't
God.
he didn't have any tattoos or anything like that. So I go in there, I grab the guy, and like he's like jacking off in the bathroom. So you know what I mean? Like I grab the guy, I start to wrestle him down to the ground, and then he just freaks out. And he's like, what are you doing? And I like I it was real fear. Like I could tell I'm very, very empathic, bro. You know what I mean? Like I could tell this guy had real fear. So I stop, obviously, and I'm like, wait, are you not the guy? And he's like, I don't know what you're talking. Oh no, wait, just wait, Tank, just wait. And he's like, this story just gets nuts, bro. And he's like, I don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, so I like pull up my phone. I like put my clothes on and I start to like step backwards out of the hotel room. I pull up my phone and I'm standing outside of the door now. And I'm like showing him my phone. I'm like, bro, somebody look at this number. Somebody told me to come to this hotel room number. And then the guy's like, nah, that ain't me, but I'll suck your dick though if you want. And I'm like, no, nope. And I just fucking turn around and I knew it was the guy. I knew it was the guy that he had just gotten scared or something. So I like fucking turn around and I go and I get in my car and I'm pissed at this point because I just drove an hour. Dude pulled
God.
this bullshit. You know what I mean? So I sent him a message. I'm like, I said, I know that was you, bro. I sent a message to the number. I said, I know that was you. You're lucky I didn't beat your fucking ass. And he's like, good luck trying. My homeboy's in the room next door. If you would have done that, I would have something. Basically verifying that it was him, that I was
Yeah.
right. So I sent him a
God.
message. I'm like, all right, bro. So check this out. I'm a dude, Tank. I'm a very vindictive person, man. I'm, I am, I'm very, very, very vindictive person. And I was like, all right, bro. So here's the deal. You're either going to give me $100 for coming all the way out here, or I'm going to send people to your hotel room all night off Grinder. You tell me.
Yeah.
And he just blocked my number. So I'm like, okay. So I fucking get on Grinder. I post a picture of myself on Grinder, which I never do. I always have a blank profile because anytime I post a picture of myself on Grinder, I just start getting message. And so I start getting all these messages, and every single one of them, I'm sending them simultaneously to this guy's apartment or to this guy's hotel room. Go to this hotel room, just bang on the door, go into this hotel. I've got music playing, just so just bang on the door, blah 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 blah. So I send one or two, three, four guys to this hotel room, talking to this kid. I send this kid to the hotel room. Then I'm like, all right, I'm over it. As I'm pulling out of the hotel, because once again, Tank, I'm a vindictive person, I think that what I've done is not enough. So I call the front desk of the hotel and I put on a fake cry. I'm a male escort and I just had a man try and kidnap me and kill me in room 139. And I just fucking go in, bro. And I tell him that there's a guy in that room that fucking blah, 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 blah. So anyway, fast forward to the next day. I get back onto my Grinder because I'm trying to get some business, and I have all these messages.
Oh
I have a
fuck.
message from one of these people, the kid that I sent there, and he's like, "Why did you do that?" And I was like, I sent him a message, or no, he's like, "Why did you do that to me in there?" And I was like, "What do you mean?" And he was like, "Do you not remember what you did to me in the hotel room?"
Oh
And I was
God.
like, "No, what do you mean?" And he's like, "Can you call me?" And I was like, so I start talking to the kid a little bit, and I finally tell him, like, listen, bro, like, this is what's going on. Obviously, the person in that picture that I'm the person in the picture that I sent you. Obviously, the person that you're talking about is not the person in the picture. You understand that, right? And he's like,
Yeah.
yeah, I just thought you catfished me. I'm like, no, I am the person in that picture. I sent you to somebody else's room that fucked me over. What happened? Dude, come to find out, that guy almost raped and killed that kid, bro. He literally fucking the kid came to the room. He must have been like the third or fourth person that came up there. He pulled him into the room, stripped him down, choked him out, tried to get him to have sex with him, and then the kid fucking got him off of him and took off running. The police were already there because I called the front desk.
Oh
So the police were
God.
already there. So this kid runs out of the hotel room with half of his clothes on and sees police. So he fucking runs up to the police. Bro, there was like a whole detective that I had to avoid talking to. It was
Oh.
literally
Oh my God.
my biggest nightmare, bro. I ended up I took the kid out to dinner and like sat with him. He was a super, super nice little 18-year-old gay Mexican kid. That was like one of his first experiences ever on Grinder. I felt so fucking bad, bro.
Oh
So bad. It felt
God.
awful. But That's the craziest thing that's ever fucking happened to me in the escort business.
That's wild. That's one of the wildest things I've ever heard.
I know, dude. With that story, like you just keep thinking that you're gonna know what happens, and then it just keeps getting different and keep getting different and keep getting
Holy
different.
shit! Did the dude
Yeah.
did the dude get in trouble at all? Do you know?
No, they can't. But they couldn't. They could not find that dude. The number that he blocked me on, that he texted me on, was a text free number. It was, dude. It there. I'm assuming that there's still like a case on this guy. The kid, the little Mexican kid that I sent up there, he was like actually talking to a detective. Like I took him out to dinner and shit because I felt bad. But like I'll be honest, like one of the main reasons why I took him out to dinner is because I had to like hammer it into him that like I was not the person that did that, and I was not going to talk to a detective. And that
Yeah.
he was gonna have to figure that out. Like he was gonna have to fucking figure that part out. And he was like, "I got it. Don't worry."
God, that's fun, dude. Wow, that's wild. Oh, wow, that's a
Yeah,
wild story.
the wildest, the fucking wildest. Of
Dude, Tyler, I appreciate you coming on the podcast. It's been dope.
course. Yeah, dude. If you're ever out in Phoenix, bro, please hit me up, man. We'll go get some food. There's
Fuck
lots of cool
yeah.
stuff to do out here. So
Definitely, definitely. Do you want to leave any contact stuff for the people? Any
and would it be weird to put a number on here?
Nah, fuck yeah, do that
Okay,
shit.
cool. I'm just gonna go ahead and do my number. I mean, because it's my work number. It's not my like my personal number. So I'm just gonna throw this number on because I will always answer this number for any kind of ad work. So it's 480-788-2877. And yeah, just hit me up and say, "Hey Tyler, this is so and so. I heard you on Tank's show," and I'll even throw you a $20 discount on our meet. So, of
Hey yo, $20 discount. Fuck yeah. Tyler, it has been so dope. I appreciate you coming on.
course, brother. Thank you for having me.
Hell yeah. Listeners, we will be back later. That was my interview with Tyler the Top. Yo, shout out Tyler. I appreciate you coming on the podcast. That was so much fun. Listeners, he just plugged it. If you want to contact him, his number is 480-788-2877. This has been episode 66. I appreciate you being here. As always, you can find us on Instagram, on Twitter, at Full Service Pod. I am at Tank Funkadelic. We recently launched Patreon for the podcast. It's a great way to support the show. We have monthly Patreon exclusive episodes that will be dropping. Our first Patreon exclusive episode aired December 4th. So if you want to hear that, head on over to patreon.com/fullservicepod. If you enjoy the show, if you like what we're doing here, make sure you hit that like button, that follow button, that subscribe button. You'll be alerted as soon as every new episode drops. If you're listening to the show on Apple Podcasts, make sure to hit us with a 5-star rating. If you could write us a review, I would love you forever. It really helps for visibility for the show. If you want to be on the podcast, if you want to hear anything talked about on the podcast, if you want to perhaps just write in and let us know how you're doing, send us an email, fullservicepod@gmail.com. We will be back next Tuesday. Oh boy, got a solo episode coming at you. And then I think the last episode of the year, the last Tuesday, I'll probably do a recap episode where I play some highlights from interviews that we have heard so far this year. Super excited for y'all to hear it. And super excited for what's going to come in 2021. We're fucking every Tuesday. We'll be here. So as long as you are, we will be too. Fucking, hey, hope you have a great week. I'm going to stop talking. Later. Full service.